In today's video, we're diving into a question that we all face at some point in our lives. What do I do when I hit the wall, when I lose all motivation, when my energy feels completely flat, when my mind is blank, I have no fresh ideas, and when the things, the goals I used to be excited and passionate about suddenly feels heavy? And at times when you're actually doing all of these right things, but nothing is moving the needle, nothing is working. So often in these moments, we tend to fall into this spiral, to get frustrated, to vent, to overthink, to push more, to put more force into it, or lean back and do nothing. And listen, I'm actually a big believer in doing nothing sometimes because rest, reflection, and silence are extremely powerful. But the thing is, if we are not too careful, that pause, that rest that we think we need can actually turn into procrastination. And that space can become an avoidance. And before we know it, we're stuck in that space of constantly needing to rest, overthinking, feeling guilty for not doing anything, overanalyzing. So in this video, I'm going to share what helps me to shift out of that stuck space because I've been there a number of times. And in fact, I was there just recently. I literally hit the wall. And to be honest, I'm still working through this wall, literally dismantling it brick by brick. So when that happened, I decided this time, instead of pushing and efforting, to pause, to wait. So I meditated. I focused on my fitness. Deep down, hoping that clarity would like knock knock on a door and say, hey, this is what you're supposed to do next. But actually, what happened is the longer I waited, the more I did nothing, the heavier everything began to feel. And instead of feeling energized, inspired, clear, refreshed, I actually felt more frustrated. I felt more disconnected, like something was missing, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And then it hit me where somewhere along the way, I literally I crossed that invisible line because what started off as a healthy pause, a time to rest, to reflect, to re-energize, has actually turned into avoidance. And my mind got very crafty. It got very, very clever. It said to me, just wait a little longer, just meditate a bit more. There is no rush. You're not ready to go back out there. Maybe clarity tomorrow you will feel more clearer. But tomorrow never really came, or at least the clarity never came, and inspiration never came to find me. Clarity did not fall from the sky, just like I was hoping it would. And what I finally realized days and days after is that this was not a motivation issue. It wasn't a clarity issue. It was a disconnection issue. I wasn't grounded in my vision, into where I was going. Instead, I was tangled in what wasn't working. And instead of leading, instead of showing up from my vision, from my angle, I was reacting to circumstances around me, being attached to outcomes, fixated on everything that hasn't happened yet, rather than who I wanted to become and what I wanted to create. So that spark I was waiting for wasn't something I needed to find with clarity, that motivation. It was literally something I had to start reclaiming from within. And it also reminded me of something very important, that we don't get stuck in life because we are overworked or there is too much on our plate or we don't know what to do next. We get stuck because we lose sight of our goal, of our vision. And when we do that, we allow our circumstances to control our thoughts, our emotions, our decisions, our actions and reactions, and our results. We default to old habits, we shrink, we stall, we overthink, we hesitate, we procrastinate. So that really shifted me into motion. I grabbed my pen and my paper and I got extremely radically honest with myself. And I asked myself, how do I want to show up? How do I want to feel? Who do I want to be? What do I want to accomplish? What is my end vision? What do I want to embody? What do I want to create? And when I finished writing that vision of me, it felt so alive. It felt so aligned and exciting. And then I asked myself the next question: What would the version of me who is already living this do now? What is my next step? And literally, guys, the answers just kept on like pouring in. Well, firstly, that version of me wouldn't wait for perfect condition. She would lead herself with a vision, with a mindset, with the energy and intention, not from fear, not from pressure, but from pure alignment. She would remember that her power does not live in outcomes, does not live in circumstances, but it lives in who she chooses to be in this gap, in the gap where she is now and where she wants to be. And that's when it really landed for me that this wasn't about clarity, that this was not about motivation, that all this journey is about how we choose to move when everything feels uncertain, when there is no clarity, when sometimes we're in the void, we don't know what next step to take. It taught me that when we hit the wall, when we have no motivation, we cannot just sit there and wait for the excitement, for clarity to magically return. We don't push harder from the same mindset that got us stuck in the first place. We've got to start leading ourselves from inside out by reconnecting to our vision, by showing up as a version of ourselves who's already living that vision each and every minute of the day. And when you slip, you reconnect to the vision and you do it over and over and over again. And this is the foundation of self leadership. Because self leadership is not about pushing harder or efforting. It's all about getting clearer, going deeper, getting more aligned with identity that you are truly meant to live and lead from. And self leadership is definitely not about having clarity in all the answers, but it's becoming the version of you who moves with certainty, even in the times of unknown. The one who doesn't react to the wall, but the one who dissolves the wall with the energy, with the vision, and the choice. And that's inspired me to create Leadership Accelerator. It's my 8-week mastermind where we don't just talk and look at the strategy, how to overcome those times when there is no certainty, when we lost motivation, but we literally work on identity level, rewiring how you lead, how you decide consistently over and over. Because when you change yourself from inside out, you will think differently, you will feel differently, and you will lead differently. You will no longer allow the circumstances determine your value, your worth, and certainly not your actions. You're not going to settle for not for what not truly aligns, and you stop saying yes to what feels like no. So the Leadership Accelerator kicks off on September 23rd. And so there is still plenty of time to join. And this is for you if you feel stuck in a career that is no longer fulfilling, or maybe in a relationship that you've outgrown, or you keep on attracting the same types of people over and over where you don't feel the way you want to feel. Or maybe you already know that you are meant, that you're ready for something different, but you don't know how to access that difference. So if this is for you, if this speaks to you, email me. I've left my email address in the description below, and let's have a quick chat to see whether this is the right fit for where you're headed. Because remember, your next level is not going to come from doing more. It comes from becoming more of who you are meant to be. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.